Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. Let's kick this off. It's very exciting. We're having some technical difficulties. The feed is not coming in at a great speed, but let's go. I'm excited. Pierre's going to be back in the house today. Will Carney show up? He's in a lose-lose situation. Let's take a look. In Canadian federal politics, the Canucks are represented by two separate yet unequal groups. The globalists who sold out and the opposition trying to salvage a country. These are their stories. All right, so we're bumping into some difficulties here with our feed, which is unfortunate. Welcome, everybody. My name's Aaron. This is Canadian Looney. This is coming from the direct source, and I don't know what's up with that. So strange. We're excited, though, to see what's going to happen in the House of Commons
chain migration
today.
into Canada at a time when liberal immigration policies have already skewed the population growth to the point where public services are under great strain. This is not only bad policy, but, Madam Speaker, I believe this is immoral policy. Liberals would like to make it easier for people who have never stepped foot in Canada to obtain.
Yeah, like it's just stalling like that all the time. I think that they're overwhelmed at their servers because there's so many people watching today. That would be my guess. Come on. I don't know. I can't really surf around to find out if other people are having the same issues.
Then retain Canadian citizenship. And it is absurd. It is outrageous. The population growth they have already inflicted upon our country.
See, it's just stalling like that. It's been doing it. I've been watching this feed for hours and like different, it's happening in the committee meetings. It's happening with their main feed. And I'm not going to lie, there's a part of me that thinks in Canadian federal doing this on purpose
has put us in a vulnerable position on many fronts.
Liberals at all.
And the reality is that they want to hand Canadian citizenship out like candies at the counter. By treating Canadian citizenship this way.
Yeah, sorry about this, gang. There's really nothing I can do. This isn't me making a mistake. You can see that the feed is having... Oh, it's frustrating.
Liberals will further increase the number of people who are trying to access social programs, housing, and health care. And this is already a growing problem where we have more people than we have services available for the people who are here. The quality of life for Canadians is threatened to be further eroded with Bill C-3. It will make many of the problems in our country even worse. Madam Speaker, I am particularly concerned about the implications this has for our healthcare system, which is already in a state of degradation because of the surge of population growth across the country. We do not have enough hospitals, we do not have enough beds, we don't have enough doctors, and we don't have enough nurses. And the prospect of Liberals wanting to bring even more people into Canada is truly concerning to many.
Yeah,
I would like to share with you a story to illustrate just
Yeah, it's just paused out. It's been doing this all morning, well, now it's the afternoon. If this continues, I'll try to find a different feed because at around 5 after 3, other feeds are available. But in the meantime, this is just the way life goes, I guess. I was so excited. I am still so excited. It's going to be a fun day. Like, they can figure this stuff out. Come on.
room in the middle of the night with no notice, no acknowledgement, don't even recognize this is kind of a bizarre and weird action to take to begin with, it made my mom quite unhappy.
Oh, Lord, come on. Oh, well, who's excited?
And a female patient forced
to
to
see
share a
how
room
it falls
without
out.
their consent.
Yeah, I'm guessing that is what it is, Mike, that it's lagging because the servers are being overwhelmed, because there are a lot of people that really hadn't been following politics, or pardon me, had been following politics, but then the election was such a letdown, like such a ripoff. And so people took a step back from watching politics.
This has become a common
We'll
practice
see.
in hospitals all across Canada, giving themselves the ability to pair male and female patients in the same room against their will because they just don't have enough space. So now a week later, Madam Speaker, I come back to Ottawa after that whole ordeal. And what is the first thing on the legislative calendar? The Liberals want to make it easier to bring even more people into our male patient and a female patient, forced to share a room without their consent. Series of policy choices being made continuously by this Liberal government to make life harder and harder for people like my mom. And forgive me, but I just can't get down with that. It's not right. Now, I appreciate that the Liberal MPs on the other side of the House may want to dismiss this and deflect. They might want to say this is a provincial issue. Why don't you take this to the provincial government? And claim that they have no responsibility. Well, my response to that would be, maybe that's a message they could deliver to the Prime Minister. He's the one having fireplace chats with the Premier of Ontario. It's not me. He's the one claim that they have no responsibility. Well, my response to that would be, maybe that's a message they could deliver to the Prime Minister. He's the one having...
Sorry, gang, I iterate that this isn't on my end, that's on theirs. If it was my Wi-Fi, it wouldn't be telling me that they're having trouble with their service.
In this House, we have the ability to control what we vote for and what we stand for.
Love Jamil Javani, though. Did anybody see him roast CBC the other night?
In this House, we have the ability to control what we vote for and what we stand for. Going to bring into the nation. They cannot give us an answer, and yet they expect us to be able to just rubber stamp their legislation when basic information required to know how this affects our families, our communities, the people who send us here to Ottawa, is not being provided by the Liberal government. It is unacceptable. It's an unacceptable way to do business. Basic information required to know how this affects our families, our communities, the people who send us here to Ottawa, is not being provided by the Liberal government. It is unacceptable. It's an unacceptable way to do business. And the reality is, if they're going to continue this approach of valuing bringing more people in instead of taking care of the people who are already here, we will all lose. That's
my experience tells me just to hang with it, because I can flip around and try to find something else to watch. That's not going to work out either. We'll just wait and see if they can get this in line. At about 3:05, there is a chance I'll be able to find another feed that will be should be a little smoother, but I'm guessing, like a few people have mentioned, that they're just overwhelmed. Their servers are overwhelmed, or this is on purpose because they just don't want Canadians to see.
Situation.
Like,
so my request to every Liberal MP who is here, every Liberal MP who might hear my words, is please do your job. Please take care of the people of this country. Join the Conservatives in pointing out how reckless your policies are in growing our population. Join the Conservatives in pointing out that at minimum, the Canadian people deserve to know how many new people will be entering this country. Because my mother did not deserve what happened at the hospital. I don't think your mother would deserve it. I don't think anybody's mother deserves it. And I think that's a good enough reason to say this this legislation just isn't good enough. Thank you.
Questions et commentaires, questions and comments. The honourable member for Vaudreuil-Soulanges.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Marks. Madam Speaker, he chose to spend his time talking about the healthcare system, and that's the honourable member's right to do so.
it's so anticlimactic. Hopefully we'll be able to get this worked out by the time the real show starts, which is around quarter after the next hour. I'm sure that there's somebody that's floating around. Are other people that are trying to stream this having the same issue? Oh, Lord. What you gonna do, guys? How did everybody make out this summer? I was following politics closely, and it was very frustrating. I started making videos that I don't normally make. I like covering the House of Commons. Like, I much prefer showing people what actually happens rather than reporting on what the news reports on, because it's all bogus. Like, if you're like, I don't copy other independents, but I will use legacy medias. And it's so frustrating. It's all propaganda. It's ridiculous. David Cochrane, Katie Simpson. Last night I did a video on Rosemary, and she did pretty good in her interview with our new Minister of Energy, Tim Hodgson, who now he's making everything about football. It used to be about hockey, elbows up, man. Then he's talking about in the red zone and spiking the ball. It makes no sense. If we're going to use metaphors, how about this one? I would like Liberal voters to have a mulligan on that last election. They can have another shot at trying to put that together. Make the right choice. It's still just freezing up.
It's not an immigrant's fault for wanting to come to Canada. It is the Liberal government's fault for burdening our already broken healthcare system with numbers of people that our country can support. Does he agree?
Honourable member for Bowmanville to Oshawa North.
Absolutely, I agree. Thank you.
Questions et commentaires, questions and comments.
There goes Doherty.
L'honorable député de Madame.
The honourable member for Madawaska-Restigouche. Madam Speaker, as I said in my speech, it's important to be serious in the proposals that we're making. And I think we need to avoid exaggeration and simplifying things and really study Bill C-3 and see how it will change citizenship. And I'd like to know from my colleague opposite, really study Bill C-3 and see how it will change, really study Bill C-3 and see how it will change citizenship. And I'd like to know from my colleague opposite, really study Bill C-3 and see how it will change citizenship. And I'd like to know from my colleague opposite,
many people are you bringing into our country?
What are they doing?
That's crossing a line somehow. This is...
Again, this isn't my fault, but I apologize. I'm Canadian. We do that. But...
basic stuff, Madam Speaker. People deserve to know, with the scarce resources our country has, how many people is the Liberal government going to bring in to further divide what is a finite pie of resources and opportunity. This is a basic element of managing a country, managing an economy, managing an opportunity. This is a basic element of managing a country, managing an economy, managing a healthcare system. And they want to make it more complicated than that, but
Canadians elected us to do. As a new MP elected just under 5 months ago, it has been a busy summer in Edmonton Southeast, talking with people, studying their issues, building new office that will faithfully serve them. I want to thank you people of Edmonton Southeast once again putting their trust in me and to be their champion in Ottawa. Edmonton Southeast people are upset. They are upset with rising crime. They are upset with the chaos in immigration system. They are upset with cost of living crisis. They are upset with the old Liberals who have done nothing under Justin Trudeau and who have done nothing under current Liberal MP, Prime Minister. Edmonton Southeast, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm eager to bring your voice to the House and fight for you. Bill C-3 is just another Liberal upset. This bill, amendment to... Right now, Canadians living abroad will pass Canadian citizenship to children. However, if the family continues to live outside of Canada, it won't pass on the next generation. It's a one-generation limit. There are reasons that a one-generation limit exists. Introduced by Stephen Harper in 2009, it was a reasonable and necessary measure.
Come on. I barely could sleep last night. I was so excited. I was up until 5 in the morning waiting for this. It's still going to be exciting. We'll have something figured out when the real show starts, which looks like we're about 20 minutes out from it actually starting, when they're going to be, well, when Pierre opens it up. Nothing against en français, but I do hope that Pierre opens up with a lambasting English question that makes Mark Carney so humiliated that it throws him off. I hope he runs. I do hope he shows up, and I hope he runs. And he'll do the first round and get out of there, pull a Trudeau tactic, or Trudeau move. Yeah, that's crazy stuff that's going on in London. The turnout there, I saw last night, somebody said that there was 3 million people that turned out.
Like many
Maybe that's
across
true.
the country, I worked to become a Canadian. I contributed to Canadian society. I built my career. I'm raising family here. I'm representing my neighbors and community here in our sacred democratic institution. I, like many Canadians, I'm representing my neighbors and community here in our sacred democratic institution. I, like many Canadians, chose to invest myself here, become part of this country's stability, and something we Canadians truly love and believe in.
All right, I don't know what's going on with the servers, but yeah, Carney's kind of in a lose-lose situation, because if he does show up, he's going to get torn to shreds, and I don't think he handles being the attention that he's going to be getting. Like, he can't take questions from reporters that he pays and tells them what to ask. He can't handle those. And I've seen Barrett break him down on here already. Barrett broke him down in June. Like, had him all flustered and cross. So Pierre, I know, is capable of making Carney look pretty dumb on here.
Being Canadian is something many people seek. There are many people who have invested their lives, built businesses, raised families in this country. So many of these people are still waiting for citizenship. There are many good people taking right step out of love for this country. It is a long process and has many hurdles. You have to prove your commitment to this country. It has always been a privilege to be earned by birth or by contributing and living in this country. It has never been up for grabs so easily with so less of an effort in the Canadian history. If Bill C3 passes as is, you will have two tiers of foreign-born Canadian citizens. You will have those like me who worked hard to proudly call themselves Canadians, and you will have those who raised abroad and have grandparent or grandparent once born in Canada. Neither of these groups were born in Canada. Only one needs to believe in Canada to get citizenship. Only one needs to prove themselves to get citizenship. Only one truly needs to contribute to get citizenship. Don't mistake me for believing that foreign-born Canadian relatives don't deserve Canadian citizenship. There are Canadian families who live much of their life abroad and who have children abroad. But we need to have a reasonable measure in place. This legislation comes with major risk in Immigration Department as well, the IRCC. When this bill was proposed last Parliament session as Bill C-75, it was an estimated that over 100,000 people will get Canadian citizenship. At the moment, IRCC is completely dysfunctional. There is a massive backlog that has pushed back the decision-making ability of IRCC way past the acceptable timelines. Just in few months I have been elected. Over 400 constituents have come up to me.
Again, I apologize that this is happening. I'm really sorry for myself. I'm so excited for this. I just hope they get it the kinks worked out in the next 20 minutes. If not, I have one thing that I will try. In 7 or 8 minutes, we might be able to find a different feed. But I suspect that they're outputting these bad signals. I've seen this happen once or twice before. I know. It's frustrating, guys. Everybody's excited. A lot of people are excited. Maybe not everyone. I'm guessing that Mark Carney's not very excited. He did everything he could. You know, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. That's sort of Mark Carney's way.
And under-resourced hospitals, the hospitals in Toronto had taken the decision that they were going to have to give themselves that power. Now, I'm not of the belief that makes it a good choice for them. I don't like the policy, but you could see very practically what population growth has done to our hospitals in that moment. And I did some research, Madam Speaker, and I found this has become a common practice in hospitals all across Canada, giving themselves the ability to pair male and female patients in the same room against their will because they just don't have enough space. So now a week later, Madam Speaker, I come back to Ottawa after that whole ordeal, and what is the first thing on the legislative calendar? The Liberals want to make it easier to bring even more people into our country, increase the demand even further on our healthcare system, and continue to demonstrate a quite objectively observable pattern of policymaking that would indicate they would rather bring new people into this country than take care of the people who are already here. My mom and seniors like her built this country, paid taxes in this country for decades, on the promise that they would be looked after when they needed it. And we have a series of policy choices being made continuously by this Liberal government to make life harder and harder for people like my mom. And forgive me, but I can't get down with that. It's not right. Now, I appreciate that the Liberal MPs on the other side of the House may want to dismiss this and deflect. They might want to say this is a provincial issue. Why don't you take this to the provincial government? And claim that they have no responsibility. Well, my response to that would be, maybe that's a message they could deliver to the Prime Minister. He's the one having fireplace chats with the Premier of Ontario. It's not me. He's the one sipping Chardonnays by the fire with the man who's in charge of the provincial government in this province. And if they want to make healthcare funding an issue, by all means, encourage the Prime Minister to do so. But I'm not able to I don't get invited to the fireplace, Madam Speaker. I don't think you do either. Most Canadians don't get to go.
Goodness gracious.
To grab this citizenship, and Conservatives are in agreement with that.
A very brief question from the honourable member for Caribou Prince George.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
To grab this citizenship,
Come on.
and Conservatives are in agreement with that.
A very brief question from the honourable member for Caribou Prince George.
To grab this citizenship,
Repeat now?
and Conservatives are in agreement with that.
A very brief question from the honourable member for Caribou Prince George.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And to our honourable colleague from Winnipeg North, Conservatives are listening to
the
Canadians.
loop.
Canadians have.
Oh, give me a break. All right, gang, you give me one moment here. Stick with me. We are gonna flip this around. We're getting out of here.
Protected homes, livelihoods, and lives in dangerous and unpredictable conditions. I also want to thank First Nations, local governments, and the many neighbors, volunteers, church groups, service clubs, and local businesses who rallied to support families, opening their doors, caring for animals, and ensuring that no one was left behind. These fires reminded us that in the face of danger, we are strongest when we stand together. I ask all members to join me in expressing our deepest gratitude to the firefighters and to every person whose courage and compassion carried us through these increasingly frequent and devastating wildfires.
L'honorable député d'honorer.
The honourable member.
L'honorable député d'honorer.
The honourable member for Honoré-Mercier. Mr. Speaker, I hope that you and all of my colleagues had a nice summer. Welcome back and best wishes to all for the parliamentary session.
Recognize International Day of Democracy. Democracies around the world are facing strong headwinds. Misinformation, disinformation, foreign interference, growing polarization, political violence, declining trust in institutions, hyper-partisanship, and the increased inequalities are rising significantly. On this International Day of Democracy, I urge us all to remember why Canada is the best nation. And I urge that we strengthen our democratic institutions through honest dialogue, participation, transparency, and trust. Together, to ensure a peaceful and inclusive future for generations to come, we should all work to build a stronger democracy. Thank you.
The honourable member for Carlton Trail, Eagle Creek.
Speaker, it's an honour to rise in this place on the first day of the fall session to resume the important work we should have been doing over the summer. At a time when Canadians were promised a government that was here to meet the moment and to accomplish things at speeds not seen in decades, the Liberals went on vacation, posed for photo ops, and signed empty agreements. This is more of the same. The same Liberal ministers, the same Liberal MPs, delivering the same old results. After spending the majority of the past 9 months in the riding hearing from constituents, they want to see this tired government held to account for their inaction and empty promises. Canadians want a government that meets their issues with the same urgency they themselves feel. Conservatives are ready to do the work, and continue to hold the Liberals to account to deliver more than just empty promises, but real results for Canadians.
The honourable member for Davenport.
Mr. Speaker, tomorrow, September 16th, is Mexican Independence Day, and I rise to recognize this momentous occasion. For over 80 years, Canada and Mexico have built a strong partnership rooted in shared values and mutual respect. We collaborate across countless fronts, from cultural exchanges to substantial investments that strengthen both of our economies. The current challenge of U.S. tariffs presents an unprecedented opportunity for Canada and Mexico to deepen our relationship. As our Prime Minister emphasized in his discussions with President Sheinbaum, our governments are committed to strengthening trade ties and exploring new economic cooperation. The Mexican-Canadian community has nearly doubled over the past decade, bringing tremendous energy and expertise to our economy. These hardworking individuals contribute immeasurably to Canada's success, enriching our communities through their entrepreneurship, innovation, and cultural vibrancy. I look forward to an even brighter future of collaboration, prosperity, and friendship between Mexico and Canada. Viva Mexico and Viva Canada!
L'honorable député.
The Honourable Member for Thérèse de Blainville.
The House is filling up. Those green seats, you can't see much green.
I'll allow the honourable member to start over. There was a problem with the mic, which was the result of a mistake I made. I went one person too quickly. So go ahead, starting from the top, the member for Foothills.
Frank is my favorite Liberal out of all of them.
Right now, Foothills farmers are in the middle of what looks to be a bumper canola crop. But instead of celebrating what looks to be one of the best harvests they've had in years, they are being crushed by canola tariffs of 75% or more by communist China, blocking them out of their second largest market. This Prime Minister said that he was a master negotiator that would be there when Canadians needed him most. But instead of results, Beijing has added higher and more tariffs on canola farmers. Now our pea producers, canola, pork, seafood, beef are all being blocked out of a critical market. The Liberals' response to this? Higher loans for farmers. But canola growers are adamant they cannot borrow themselves out of this crisis. Canada's Conservatives are committed to finding real solutions to this crisis. But Canadian farm families know they have a real champion in Canada's Conservatives, led by the Honourable Member of Battle River Crowfoot.
L'honorable député de Thérèse de Blainville.
The Honourable Member for Thérèse de Blainville. Mr. Speaker, it is with great sadness and emotion that I pay tribute today to René Aumier-Roy, a cultural icon in Quebec who passed away at the age of 85. For over 6 decades, he shaped our collective imagination. On the radio, on television, and in his columns, René Aumier-Roy covered our culture, literature, cinema, theatre, and artists with exceptional intelligence, insatiable curiosity, and great respect. He had a unique tone, both vigorous and warm, and that was part of day-to-day life for generations of Quebecers. He taught me about Quebec and Canadian culture. We have lost more than just a journalist or a broadcaster. We have lost a voice that brought our culture to life, giving it its rightful place and dignity. I offer my sincere condolences to his family, his loved ones, and all his colleagues at Radio-Canada and in the world of culture. Quebec and Canada mourn the loss of a man who gave us so much, and his legacy will live on.
L'honorable député.
The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. I have a message for David's friends. David is our first child, mine and Caro's. He's a son who made us proud with his heart, which is so huge. He was a protective brother to his 2 sisters, Marie-Soleil and Justine. He was a boy who wasn't afraid to say, "I love you" to his parents. David is also a young man who one day tried marijuana with his friends. He wanted to try everything, all new experiences. He experienced his first heartbreak. He spent a lot of time with his friends, and that turned into addiction. One day, he went too far. He ended up before a judge, and he vowed to the judge that he would stop using drugs. He got his life back on track. He found love again, and he became father to Clovis and Éloi. But David felt very strong. He felt that he didn't need therapy. Then he experienced a few hardships, and David found himself haunted by his old demons again, and he had kept in touch with those friends. My wife, Caro, wrote this on Facebook this month. 7 months ago today, she wrote, "My son took his own life because he didn't want to ask for help, because he didn't want to accept the hand we offered him. Today is Suicide Prevention Day. Please ask for help or accept the help offered to you by those who love you. To all of David's friends, don't do what he did. There's always someone who loves you, ready to help you. David, we love you."
What did I miss?
Les plus sincères condoléances.
My most sincere condolences to the member.
Aaron Mills.
Mr. Speaker, it was a busy summer in Mississauga, Aaron Mills. I
They
met
follow
with
up with this
constituents
twist.
across my riding, listening to their concerns and their hopes for the future of Canada. I hosted my annual community barbecue where thousands of neighbors and their families came together to enjoy a meal and connect with our community. I facilitated roundtables for constructive solution finding and joined my community in their events and their celebrations. What I heard most clearly was a growing concern about crime. Families want safe streets, parents want peace of mind for their children, and seniors want security in their homes and online. These concerns cannot be ignored. We must be ready to meet the moment. Our priority must be to reduce crime, support families, and ensure that Canadians feel secure where they live. I will continue to work with colleagues in this House to deliver real solutions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Brampton West.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised to fix the broken bail system, but he left for summer vacation without delivering, and he returns to the Parliament still empty-handed. Let me share with you how bad the crime waves are in Brampton and across Canada. Violent crime up 55%, gun crime up 130%, hate crimes are up 258%, extortions up 350%, and overdoses are tearing through our neighborhoods. In Brampton, a home invasion resulted in the death of a young Canadian. This is becoming the norm in Canada. Mr. Speaker, Canadians deserve a justice system that protects Canadians. It's time to put victims ahead of criminals, and let's put repeat violent offenders in jail, not bail. Mr. Speaker, Canadians expect safer streets and neighborhoods, not more liberal delays and excuses. It's time for action. It's time for change. I urge Prime Minister to put political games aside and protect Canadians from these everyday crimes.
L'honorable député de Belleuil-Chambly.
The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, this is my first time rising this session, and I wish to thank from the bottom of my heart the man who was a sociologist, a builder of nations. He was a pedagogue, the eternal Guy Rocher. He passed away on September 3rd at the age of 101. He was the father of secularism in Quebec and also the father of our French language charter. He was a pioneer of our society. He is at the base and the core of everything that we are. On behalf of the Bloc Québécois, I wish to express my most sincere condolences to his loved ones. Without Guy Rocher, there wouldn't have been the incredible, noble project to make Quebec a country. Thank you, Mr. Rocher. You lived over 100 years, but you will live on eternally in our minds.
The honourable member for Cumberland Colchester. Cumberland Colchester.
I can't believe this
The honourable member for Cumberland Colchester.
Dr. Stephen Ellis. This beat Dr. Stephen Ellis. I don't know what's wrong
Member
with
for
people
Lakeland.
in this province.
Canadians still pay the price for the last anti-development Liberal decade 6 months ago to get elected. The Prime Minister promised to put shovels in the ground on big projects at, quote, unimaginable speeds. But what Canadians got was the same old Liberal bait and switch, photo ops and more bureaucracy because the PM is just another Liberal. They say 5 projects made their secret list so far, some already approved and some already being built. Not a single pipeline to create Canadian jobs with Canadian steel and pay for programs all Canadians want. Conservatives work to improve and pass Bill C-5, but it's not enough to get back the $60 billion that left Canada due to Liberal red tape. C-5 admits the Liberals' own laws block building. They must scrap the no new pipelines, never build anything anywhere Bill C-69, the shipping ban, Bill C-48, Canadian energy censorship, the Liberal oil and gas cap, and the federal industrial carbon tax so Canada can compete. Conservatives want to unleash natural resources to make a strong, united Canada, self-reliant, affordable.
The honourable member for Saint Laurent. The honourable member for Saint Laurent.
Mr. Speaker, on Saturday, I had the opportunity to participate in the Peace Walk in my constituency. This event is organized by the Federation for Universal Peace and other organizations in my riding of Saint Laurent to mark the International Day of Peace. It reminds us that peace begins right here at home.
On September 21st each year also reminds us of the millions affected by conflicts and wars worldwide, and that we cannot let values like empathy, compassion, and cooperation falter, at home or abroad. These are the values that make us Canadian. They are the reason we chose Canada to be our home. Dans un contexte où des incidents haineux et violents.
Hateful and violent incidents are on the rise in Canada. This is why we must build inclusive communities where each and every community member feels respected and safe. That is how we can build a strong Canada.
Our shared responsibility as Canadians and as global citizens to uphold peace every single day. Merci.
The honourable member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands.
Here we go, Mike Bear is in the
We
house.
all want Canada to succeed, and that's why we'll hold the Prime Minister accountable for his promises compared to the results. Do his words match his deeds? He promised the fastest growing economy in the G7, yet we've seen shrinking growth, high unemployment, rising food prices, and worsening debt. He promised he would double home building, but it's fallen, and he's adding more bureaucracy that hasn't built a single home. He promised after 10 years of Liberals driving up costs, crime, and chaos, he would be different. Sadly, whether it's unemployment, the cost of living, home building, tariffs, crime, or immigration, it's gotten worse. It's more broken Liberal promises from another Liberal Prime Minister. But Conservatives are here to help. We'll oppose the things that aren't good for Canadians, support the things that are, and propose solutions to the problems that Liberals have created.
The honourable member for Markham-Stouffville.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to tell this House about a remarkable constituent of mine from Markham-Stouffville. In 2023, Adam Shah was just 9 years old when he came up with the idea of organizing Adam's Ride to Recovery, a charity event to raise money for Markham-Stouffville Hospital. He encouraged his family members and friends at Wendat Village Public School to take part. Now Adam is 11, and the Ride to Recovery has become an annual event. I was happy to be there this summer to see 150 participants on bikes and on foot. The ride is supported by the phenomenal people at the Markham-Stouffville Hospital Foundation, and each year the ride has raised more money than the year before, now totaling $3,185. Adam has shown an incredible example of leadership and commitment to community service at such a young age. Congratulations to Adam and the Ride to Recovery team. Keep up the amazing work.
The honourable member for Lethbridge.
Freedom of speech is the cornerstone of a free society. It means we will hear ideas that we disagree with and express views that may be offensive. This freedom can make us uncomfortable or even hurt, but silencing voices, whether for a moment or forever, is never the answer. We must protect a society where people can hold beliefs and share opinions without fear of losing their jobs, being censored, or worse. Charlie Kirk was an outspoken advocate for faith, family, and freedom. Many disagreed with him, some were offended. Tragically, on September 10th, he was assassinated in an attempt to silence his voice. But when has political violence ever been the solution? It destroys dialogue, it undermines democracy, and it breeds fear instead of understanding. True progress comes from persuasion, not intimidation. As we grapple with our personal response to this, may we be honorable in our actions. May we fiercely defend the right of our opponents to speak freely. And may we join our hearts with Charlie's family, his wife Erica, and his 2 young children. Rest in peace.
Here we go. I think this is going to be it.
The honourable member for Ottawa, Vanier-Gloucester.
Get it going.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to pay tribute to Ken Dryden, whose passing is a profound loss for Canada. I had the privilege of working with Ken and witnessed firsthand his thoughtfulness, intellect, and dedication. He was deeply committed to improving sport culture and advancing efforts to better protect athletes from concussions. While many will remember him as a Hall of Fame goaltender and 6-time Stanley Cup champion with the Montreal Canadiens, but he was so much more. He was a scholar, an author, a parliamentarian, a leader whose influence extended far beyond the ice. Ken's life left an indelible mark both in sport and in public life. His vision, generosity, and commitment to excellence continue to inspire Canadians across generations. On behalf of this House, I extend my deepest condolences to his family, his loved ones, and all those whose lives he touched. May he rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's get this going. There's Pierre, he's in the house.
L'honorable député d'Hochelaga, Rosemont-Est.
The honourable member for Hochelaga, Rosemont-Est.
They're always
René
late.
Aumier-Roy was a broadcaster, a cultural expert, and, as he liked to say, a professional spectator. He just passed away at the age of 85. René taught me so many things. I won't talk about you. I'll speak directly to you. I spent 10 years with you, working with you, and 40 years listening to you. I always appreciated your spirit, your unique nature, and your defense of our culture. You were never complacent. You never believed in objectivity. You always pursued truth and honesty. René, you were an excellent communicator. Listening is, of course, a talent, and that was one of yours, which you used alongside your curiosity. René, I'm sure that wherever you are, it's incredibly distracting. Goodbye, René.
All right, Pierre's risen. Let's go.
Questions orales.
Oral questions.
The honourable leader of the opposition.
My mother taught me never to be late, so please forgive me for my late arrival to the session. I had some meetings with extremely important people in East Central Alberta, Mr. Speaker, after which I was honored to be elected by the great people of Battle River Crowfoot. I thank the great Damien Kirk who made it possible, and I thank the Prime Minister for calling a prompt by-election. I wonder if one day he might regret that decision, but in a spirit of good faith, I wonder if he agrees that our goal should be a Canada where hard work is rewarded, where food and homes are affordable, where streets are safe, where borders are solid, and where we're all united under a proud flag.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure I speak for all parliamentarians in welcoming the member for Battle River Crowfoot back to the House of Commons. He may notice a few things have changed since he was here last. The largest women's caucus in Canadian history. And a spirit of collaboration that was shown in the opening session, including in the passage of the Build Canada Act and the projet de loi du Bloc québécois en ce qui concerne.
And the Bloc's bill in terms of protecting supply management. I agree entirely with the sentiment and objectives of the Leader of the Opposition.
I was deliberately flexible on time because it's a special day, but now we're going to respect the 35-second limit. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Some things never change. Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my constituents of Battlefield Crowfoot, who we had a by-election very quickly, and sometimes the Prime Minister may regret his decision, but I think we all agree with the mission of reestablishing a Canada where hard work, an affordable home and homes and food, in safe streets and solid borders, all united under a proud flag. Does the Prime Minister agree with this?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I agree entirely with the sentiment and objectives that the Leader of the Opposition has just expressed for our great country. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister mentioned how much had changed, and it's true. I look around this place, and when I left, there was a Liberal Prime Minister who was making excuses about breaking promises, running massive deficits, costs, crime, chaos were all out of control. And whereas today, we have a Liberal Prime Minister breaking promises, making excuses, running massive deficits with costs, crime, and chaos out of control. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister match the grand promises with the real change Canadians need?
Here, here, here. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I understand the Minister, or the Minister, promotion.
He has no clue. This guy's dumb.
Come on over.
He can't handle it.
I understand the Leader of the Opposition was busy. He missed the largest tax cut for 22 million Canadians. He missed the cut on the GST for new homes. He missed eliminating all federal barriers to trade. He missed. I hope I'll have another opportunity to finish a very long list of what the Leader of Opposition.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Dans l'esprit.
In a nonpartisan spirit, we're simply going to insist that the Prime Minister adhere to his own promises. He promised the strongest growth in the G7 for our economy, and now our economy is declining the fastest in the G7. He also promised that food would cost less. It's more, and food inflation is accelerating. He promised a budget in October, and now we'll see one maybe in November with a double deficit. So, inaudible.
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this government has been absolutely focused on improving affordability for Canadians. That's why the largest tax cut, 22 million Canadians, every taxpayer in this country. That's why the cut to the GST. That's why the launch of Build Canada Homes, which will reduce the cost of home building in this country. That's why we back the CRTC to get broadband costs down for Canadians. We are building the strongest economy throughout the worst crisis in our history.
It's laughable.
In the spirit of nonpartisanship, we are simply going to hold this Prime Minister to his own promises. He promised that he would spend less. He's already spending 8% more. He promised the budget would be in October. Now he says it will be in November, more than halfway through the fiscal year. He promised that his government would have a smaller deficit than Justin Trudeau. Instead, now we hear that it might even be double. So a trivia question. Can the Prime Minister tell us, has there ever been a Prime Minister who has successfully doubled the deficit without even introducing a budget?
Oh. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
It's a trick question.
Mr. Speaker, this government is undertaking the biggest investment in protecting Canadians in the Canadian military. Doubling our investment in the Canadian military from last year when this member last sat in the House by the end of this decade. This government, there's more.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
There's a lot more debt is what there is, Mr. Speaker. A lot more debt than we ever imagined would be possible. This is a Prime Minister who said we'd have the fastest growing economy in the G7. We have the fastest shrinking economy in the G7. He said grocery prices would go down. They're going up faster than ever before. He promised to create jobs. He has the second highest unemployment in the G7. He's really reminding us all of that sign at the bar. Free beer tomorrow. But you come back the next day and the beer is still not free, and tomorrow never comes. Mr. Speaker, why is it that all of this Prime Minister's promises of yesterday turn into today's disappointments?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think if we are going to build the strongest economy in the G7, and we will, we need to be clear. We need to be clear about the scale of the crisis we are in. We need to be clear about the scale of investment that we need. $60 billion in new projects announced last week. $200 billion in investment announced last week. $100 billion in housing investment announced just yesterday. That's the scale of what we need.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Champlain. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister was elected saying that he would be the best to face the tariff crisis and the trade war. Almost 4 months have gone by, and Canada is not coming out on top. At best, we can say that it hasn't been a success. Can he commit now to put an end to tariffs and an end of a trade war agreement with the United States, his true priority? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the current situation is this. We have the best deal with the U.S. worldwide right now. We're talking about more than 85%. 85% is enormous of our exports are covered under free trade with the U.S. We have the lowest tariff in the world right now. That is a success. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Champlain. I would contest such statements which would not live up to economic analysis. We would have to look at that in another forum. But the Prime Minister says we have a privileged relationship with the U.S. and it no longer exists. But this statement didn't go over very well in Washington. Can he state today that he is confident that he can reestablish our privileged relationship of trust between Canada and the U.S. administration quickly as the best way to put our trade relationship back on a right track? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Canada-U.S. relationship is good. Yes, we are experiencing difficulties and challenges, some setbacks, but I am proud that this government stands up for Canada, but that's true. I speak regularly with the President, over the past weekend in terms of the current situation between Ukraine and Russia and China. We spoke. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. The Prime Minister's rare presence in Washington, both in terms of the U.S. administration and the economic troubles. Well, his absence was noted a great deal in Washington. When did he go for the last time to Washington, and when will the PM start seriously going to the capital city of our main partner and make it a priority, rather than talking about infrastructure that won't even be put in place until the end of Mr. Trump's term? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the U.S. President is a modern man. I speak with him regularly. We send each other text messages. But what's the most important right now for Canada is to diversify our trade internationally with Europe, in Asia, with Africa, and South America. Thank you.
The honourable member for Foothills.
The same Liberal promises, the same Liberal results. Canadians are paying the price for another Liberal Prime Minister's broken promises. This Prime Minister said to Canadians that he would be judged by prices at the grocery store. Results are in. This Prime Minister has failed. Food prices have surged 40% since the last Liberal Prime Minister broke that same promise the last time. Should this Prime Minister's promise to Canadians not be judged by food prices at the grocery store, but the number of families being forced to food banks?
Right.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the number one cost for Canadians is their housing, and we have taken action to make housing more affordable. Yesterday, the Prime Minister and I announced the launch of Build Canada Homes, which will be a one-stop shop for making housing more affordable across Canada. And we're launching that on 6 pieces of Canada lands, 4,000 homes that we will start building immediately. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Foothills.
Canadians can't afford to put food on the table, let alone pay for the Liberals' bureaucracy when it comes to housing. But let's be clear. This was the Prime Minister's promise. These were the Prime Minister's words. This is the Prime Minister's failure. Food prices are going to go up $700 per Canadian family this year. Canned soup is up 26%, apples 14%, tuna 19%. The daily essentials have become unaffordable. Is sticker shock at the grocery store the experience that this Prime Minister promised Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As far as promises delivered goes, this government promised to launch Build Canada Homes and make the largest investment in affordable housing in Canadian history. We are taking action where it matters most, and Canadians need support on affordable housing. Across the board, we need more support, but starting with housing, and housing first, particularly for those on low incomes and those who are homeless. We are taking action.
Honourable Member for Thornhill.
The Prime Minister told Canadians that they should judge him by the prices they pay at the grocery store. But food inflation is 70% above target. The grocery prices are up 40% in less than a decade, and all of those years the Liberals were in power. And the cost of food has risen overall more than inflation every single month that this Prime Minister has been here. Canadians should judge the Prime Minister by his words. That's only fair. But is it that he never shops for food, or is it that he thinks inflation is something that happens to other people?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, we'll come back to the number one cost for Canadians and concern is around affordability of housing.
That's so true.
I know the Conservatives and the members opposite do not care about affordable housing. We're here to take action on it. Make life more affordable for Canadians, starting with their homes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good work.
The Honourable Member for Thornhill.
The minister cannot ignore the problem of millions of Canadians using a food bank every single month. And that hasn't changed. It happened under this Liberal government's watch. And now they're making excuses or changing the subject entirely. Canadians are getting fleeced at the grocery store, and it's only going to get worse because next year their bill will be $700 higher per family. That's another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch by another Liberal Prime Minister. So is that the experience that he's now promising Canadians?
Yeah, we've got
L'Honorable Ministre des Finances.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
We listen to Canadians, something that the Conservative may want to do a bit more. And what Canadians have told us, Mr. Speaker, is affordability is the first concern. The second is housing, and the third is the economy. What have we done, Mr. Speaker, while the leader was away? The first thing we did for Canadians was to reduce taxes for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. Everyone got a raise on Canada Day, Mr. Speaker. The second thing, we removed GST on first-time home buyer, Mr. Speaker. And we are going to build with Canadians, with every Canadian, the strongest economy in the G7. That's what this Liberal government is about.
The Honourable Member from Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. On the day that the Liberal Prime Minister was sworn in, he stated that Canadians would judge him based on the cost of groceries. And let's look at the results of this Liberal system. Food inflation is now 70% above target. Families are paying more, children are earning less, and this is just another broken promise by the Liberals. Does the Prime Minister admit that his own words were just another Liberal deception because the Prime Minister is now just another Liberal like the rest of them? Why is this Prime Minister making grocery shopping an increasingly painful and expensive experience for families? The Right Honourable, the Minister of Canadian Identity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had the pleasure this morning with my colleague, the Minister of Infrastructure and Housing, and colleagues from the Quebec government to launch a project to build 20,000 homes, including 6,000 off-market homes that are affordable to help families and people in the Montreal region. And we're going to do this across our country, Mr. Speaker.
Crazy person.
The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. Are the Liberals not ashamed that their Prime Minister did not keep his promise to make groceries more affordable? Since this Liberal Prime Minister came to power, the cost of stewing beef rose 22%, potatoes up 20%, onions 11%. Even Bolduc can no longer afford a good stew. Canadians will judge him based on the cost of groceries, and he said so himself. The verdict is clear. Another broken Liberal promise. Why is this Prime Minister just making groceries a painful and expensive experience for families? The Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, I'm surprised by my colleague's question. Not only did we listen to the Conservative constituents and all Canadians, they told us one thing, Mr. Speaker: tackle the cost of living. And the first thing our government, Liberal government, did was to lower tax for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. That's money back in the pockets of people in his riding, Mr. Speaker. The second thing that the Canadians asked us to do is to build affordable homes. And yesterday, Mr. Speaker, we launched Build Canada Homes to help more families. On this side of the House, we're going to work to build the strongest economy in the G7. The Honourable Member for Montmorency-Charlevoix. Merci, Mr. Speaker. When his cabinet was sworn in, the Prime Minister said that Canadians will be able to judge him based on the cost of groceries. Well, everyone in my riding talked about their concerns, and the cost of groceries are at the top of that list. The Liberal government was promising better prices, and once again, they're not delivering the goods. So, since the Liberals have been to power, groceries have gone up by 40%. The PM's promise for fair price groceries is just another broken promise. The Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, what young Canadians and Canadians in general want is obviously to be able to have an affordable life in Canada, to be able to buy a home and an affordable home, and also to have a resilient economy for the future. Because on this side of the House, we've always understood that the best thing we can do is to build a strong economy for all Canadians. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, I can tell you that the Liberals will work together to build the strongest economy, to make life affordable for Canadians, build more homes, make Canada, Mr. Speaker, the best economy in the G7. The Honourable Member for Repentigny. Mr. Speaker, only one summer and 10 years back in terms of the environment. The Prime Minister adopted C5 to improved projects without social license, and they want to skip environmental evaluations for pipelines, and they're not talking about zero emissions vehicles, and even they're taking a step back in terms of the sale of these vehicles. And even went even further, they refuses to commit his GHG reduction emissions in the midst of a climate crisis. Will this government keep its own, respect its own targets for 2030? The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. We continued to fight against climate change. We know it's important. It was important for future generations and for our economy, because when we look around the world, everyone wants low-carbon products, and that's exactly what we want to do, is to build a strong Canada, and it'll be one that will be good for future generations. The Honourable Member for Repentigny. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about the government's big projects with C5. C5 is overreach that even affects good projects, because good projects don't need to skirt environmental impact assessments or federal legislation. They don't need to snub social license. If they're doing this, then these aren't good projects. Can this government promise that all these major projects will respect environmental norms, legislation, and the will of Quebecers? The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. Mr. Speaker, it's always interesting to hear the Bloc talk about important projects when the Bloc leader did authorize drilling on Anticosti Island when he was the Minister of the Environment. But now we are going to build a strong economy, and that is clean for future generations. That's what we're doing, and we are going to build a strong Canada for future generations.
The Honourable Member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
The Prime Minister promised to double home building to 500,000 homes per year, but today housing starts are down 13%, another broken Liberal promise. Yesterday, the Prime Minister introduced a fourth $13 billion housing bureaucracy to build, wait for it, 4,000 homes. What blocks home building is government bureaucracy, red tape, and taxes. So why does the Prime Minister believe that adding $13 billion more bureaucracy is now suddenly going to solve the housing crisis?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I'm happy to share that there is a significant commitment, $13 billion, that will be invested in housing and leveraging private investment as well, working with private capital, with builders and communities across Canada to make sure we are building the affordable housing that Canadians need, particularly young Canadians who can't afford to get into the market. Those 4,000 units are the first start on Canada Lands and the very, very beginning of the most comprehensive investment in Canadian affordable housing.
Member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
$13 billion for a fourth federal Ottawa housing bureaucracy to build 4,000 homes is not a solution. It is yet another Liberal boondoggle that will cost Canadians a fortune and will solve nothing. The Prime Minister said the core challenge present in the housing market is it's just too hard to build. It's hard to build because of government taxes and red tape. In Toronto and Vancouver, the cost of government on a new home is over 25%. Housing starts there have stopped. Why does the Prime Minister not understand that if we're going to get homes built, we have to cut the bureaucracy, not add $13 billion more?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the member opposite and the Conservatives may not believe in investing in affordable housing. This government does. This government is making an unprecedented investment in building affordable housing in partnership with the private sector, in partnership with cities, provinces, territories, Indigenous nations. We are going to deliver with our partners like never before.
The Honourable Member for Barrie Springwater, Oro-Medonte.
Mr. Speaker, under this Liberal government, lawlessness has become the norm in Canada. In many cities, children can't play safely in parks, families can't walk down sidewalks, businesses are suffering, and residents are living in fear. Tent encampments and lawlessness are taking over public spaces. This summer, Barrie Mayor Alex Nuttall was forced to take the extraordinary step of declaring a state of emergency to try and restore order back to Barrie. Wow. Canada was not like this 10 years ago. When will this Prime Minister stop this reckless Liberal agenda and bring order back to our communities?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, our plan to keep communities safe will keep drugs, guns, and criminals off our streets. We're partnering with police services across the country to fight organized crime. We'll make it tougher for violent criminals to get bail and impose stricter sentences to repeat violent offenders. We're hiring 1,000 CBSA and RCMP officers to add to the 10,000 frontline personnel who are already keeping our borders safe. This work will be bolstered by investing in community safety initiatives to stop crime before it starts. Mr. Speaker, we will always be there to keep Canadian communities safe.
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale Langley City.
Mr. Speaker, this Liberal Prime Minister swaggered in promising a massive surge in home building, 500,000 new homes a year. After all that hype, Vancouver families are still staring at million-dollar price tags. That surge hasn't even made a ripple. Projects are stalled, permits crawl through red tape, and the only thing going up faster is the bureaucracy he's building. Now that big pledge has shrunk to just 4,000 homes at the cost of $4 billion, and yet another Liberal broken promise. When will the Liberals stop building bureaucracy that makes homes more expensive for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Liberal government focuses on building affordable housing with our partners. This is an unprecedented investment alongside a cut to the GST for first-time home buyers, which we are rolling out. We are focused on delivering solutions, on delivering housing in the communities that need it the most, and that investment was never seen from Conservative governments, certainly not in the history that I'm familiar with. We saw housing not being a priority for the members opposite. We're focused on it delivering.
The Honourable Member for Beauce. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals are back at it again with a new bureaucracy for housing, but one that ultimately creates inflation and solves absolutely nothing. The Prime Minister promised Canadians he would double housing construction, committing to build 500,000 units per year. But what's he actually doing? Proposing a new bureaucracy that will only build 4,000 new homes. Mr. Speaker, we know this government is back at it again with more bureaucracy instead of focusing on building more homes. Why? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Culture. We have to work together on this, Mr. Speaker. We need to work with the municipalities, with stakeholders, with the provinces. The Conservatives think you just need to insult people, but we think you need to work together, and that's what we've done this morning. The Minister of Infrastructure and Housing and myself made a historic announcement for the construction of 20,000 units. And that's just a start, Mr. Speaker. We're going to do it all across the country. We'll do that together with our partners.
The Honourable Member for Carleton.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians made it clear, in the last campaign that they expect us to deliver real housing solutions, to get more homes built faster, to bring down the cost of housing so that young people, families, those most vulnerable.
Just so we know, I don't mean to interrupt. I won't do it very often. This Bruce Franjoy is the one that won Pierre's seat in Carleton. He is a cheater. Just putting that out.
And those along the housing continuum can access housing that meets their needs. Can the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure please tell this House about the government's recently announced plan to deliver affordable housing to Canadians?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. And I know the member from Carleton is very concerned about making sure it's green, sustainable housing, and we will certainly focus on ensuring that energy costs are low, that these are resilient homes that get us through the challenges ahead with climate change. We will make sure they are affordable, first and foremost, and build a new Canadian industry manufacturing the best homes in the world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson, Nicola.
The Prime Minister said he would fix safer streets for the Liberal on behalf of the Liberals. He promised to fix the broken Liberal justice system. And yet, an 8-year-old was killed while sleeping, the place he should have been safest. Now, Mr. Speaker, the Justice Minister said this isn't the Wild West, and he's right. 8-year-old children sleeping in their homes and getting killed did not happen in the Wild West. The Liberals say they're tough on crime, but they won't repeal Bills C-5 and Bill C-75. Another bait and switch from another Liberal Prime Minister. When will these same old Liberals get tough on crime?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, obviously the circumstances my honourable colleague raises constitute an entire tragedy that should shock the conscience of every Canadian. But when the honourable member poses a question about repealing Bill C-75, I would suggest it is a good idea to read it first. He does not seemingly understand that bill actually makes it harder for people who are charged with intimate partner violence to receive bail. Now, I am willing to work in good faith with members of any party to help strengthen the bail system, have harsher penalties for serious crimes, and most importantly, to keep Canada safe. The only question I have that remains is whether the Conservatives will join us in that effort.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson, Nicola.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives have been waiting for 10 years to help the Liberals create safe streets, and they have brought forward next to nothing. I spent some time with the Vancouver police this summer. What did we see? What do we see in Vancouver? Guns, lawlessness, drug overdoses. I saw firsthand the increases of I saw firsthand the 152% increase in overdoses. The Liberals promised safer streets, lower overdoses, another bait and switch to go with their broken promises. When will these Liberals fix the justice system that they...
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I too had the opportunity to be with the Vancouver police and to see firsthand the challenges that they're facing. I was there with their fentanyl czar, Kevin Brasseau, and we saw the incredible work of the Vancouver police in ensuring that their communities are safer. In fact, just recently, 2 days ago, the Mayor of Vancouver indicated that the program that they put in place is working. Together with the work that we're going to be doing on bail reform and ensuring that violent criminal repeat offenders are put away, we will make our communities safer, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Oxford.
Mr. Speaker, violent crime is up over 55%, and more than half of Canadians don't feel safe in their own neighbourhoods. This Prime Minister promised to crack down on crime, yet repeat offenders keep getting out on bail. Another broken promise, but Canadians are paying the price. Families are shattered, lives have been lost, and that's why my Jail Not Bail Act will put these criminals behind bars. So the question is simple. Will the Prime Minister support our bill, restore safe streets, or was that another broken Liberal promise?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, it was in our platform. We've got a mandate and we've promised Canadians that we are going to keep our communities safe. This fall, we're tabling legislation to make bail tougher, to make sentencing harder and stiffer on repeat violent criminals. We're going to make sure that these types of criminals stay behind bars and that everyone feels safe in their homes and on their streets.
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Member for Saskatoon West.
Prime Minister promised to fix the Liberals' broken bail system, but he hasn't delivered. Another broken Liberal promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal. Chief McBride, Saskatoon's top cop, says it's a struggle every day with repeat offenders. The Prime Minister says he'll get tough on crime, but since the Liberals took power, repeat offenders have fueled a crime wave in Canada, with violent crimes up 55%. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister stop breaking promises and put repeat violent offenders behind bars?
Great question.
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, it's encouraging to see that there is alignment between the Conservative opposition and the Liberal government when it comes to improving public safety, including through the adoption of stronger laws to help build safer communities. I have good news for my colleague. We will be introducing legislation during this parliamentary session to strengthen bail reform in this country, to have harsher sentences for violent repeat offenders,
and to make sure that we have the support to help keep communities safe with direct investment in law enforcement. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to working with my honourable colleague and members on both sides of the aisle to advance public safety in this country.
The honourable member for King Vaughan.
Prime Minister promised to fix their broken criminal justice system and did nothing all summer. Meanwhile, 7 shootings have occurred in Vaughan in less than 3 weeks. A father, Abdul Aleem Faruqi, was shot dead protecting his family. Families across Canada are terrified, and repeat violent offenders are still on our streets because of weak Liberal laws like Bill C-5 and C-75. Another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal. When will this Prime Minister's broken promises stop?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, the tragedy that the member refers to is one that's impacted my community greatly, and my sincere sympathy goes out to the family. We're going to make sure that repeat violent offenders are kept behind bars. Mr. Speaker, this summer I consulted with many police agencies across the country. A lot of their recommendations are going to be seen in this bill, but provinces too have to do their part to fix the broken justice system. They have to invest in Crown prosecutions, and they have to make sure that there are enough judges to hear the trials.
The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
The Prime Minister promised to grow the economy, but it's shrinking. And since he took office, tens of thousands of jobs have been lost. But the Liberals are on track this year to bring in the most temporary foreign work permits ever. It's so bad that a former Liberal immigration minister just said that they admitted that they let industry become, quote, addicted to temporary work. And he's right. Amid the PM's pledge to cut the public service, even the Liberals are using TFWs to fill federal government jobs. We've talked about buying Canadian. Why isn't the Prime Minister making people hire them?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, temporary foreign worker use is down by 70% in this country. Less than 1% of our workforce is temporary foreign workers. And in fact, in Canada, Canadians come first for any available jobs. That's why the department has rigid rules for employers that are looking to fill vacancies with workers from other countries. And Mr. Speaker, if employers are abusing the program, they receive serious penalties, including banning from the use of this program.
The honourable member for Richmond Hill South.
Only a Liberal Prime Minister could promise to secure our border and fail in just 6 months. Over the summer, asylum claims from illegal U.S. crossings spiked dramatically, piling onto a staggering backlog of nearly 300,000 unprocessed claims. Many of these are likely bogus, yet claimants are immediately entitled to work permits, health care, and benefits on the backs of Canadian taxpayers. Another broken Liberal promise, another bait and switch, because he's just another Liberal Prime Minister. How much longer is the Prime Minister going to keep our border open and let it become a backdoor, unplanned stream of economic migration before he finally takes action?
Great. Good job. The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Dear. Oh, goodness gracious.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. While the opposition is concentrating on, making assumptions and speaking about things that are not there, let me tell you that with the asylum system, our numbers are down 40%. We've also introduced Bill C-2, which will strengthen our border. And this legislation is in front of the House. We campaigned for, and Canadians have gave us a mandate, so did Conservatives, and we hope that the Conservatives will help us pass the
She's such a twit. What an embarrassment. Fraser Andy are from Nova Scotia.
Fix Canada's immigration system and broke that promise. Up to 500,000 people have overstayed their visas in Canada. Teens can't find work, healthcare is overwhelmed, housing is out of reach, and crime rates are soaring because of the Liberals' reckless policies. The Liberals continue to maintain high levels of immigration and won't even remove those who are non-citizen criminals convicted of serious crimes. The Liberals have had all summer to find these non-citizen criminals and remove them. Why didn't they?
The Honourable Minister of Citizenship and Immigration.
Mr. Speaker, I know Canadians are concerned. Our government has been working tirelessly, and we understand that we need to see a return to sustainable immigration levels that fits our capacity and that serves our growth. And that is exactly why we are focused on our levels plan with reducing both temporary and permanent residents in this country. And we are seeing results. We're bringing population to sustainable levels and decreasing the pressures on housing and services. We are focused on solutions on this side of the House, and there is legislation in front of this Parliament, and we hope that the Conservatives will support it.
The honourable member for Calgary-Nose Hill.
So let me get this straight. The Prime Minister promised to grow the economy, but it's shrinking. He promised he'd create jobs, but Canadians are losing it. We're in a healthcare crisis and a housing crisis, but the Liberals still issued record numbers of TFW permits this summer. They continued to let the asylum system be abused, and they still haven't removed countless non-citizen criminals. Mr. Speaker, why does the Immigration Minister still have her job?
Go for it, MRG.
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, temporary foreign workers make up less than 1% of our total workforce. In fact, this is a program where employers must demonstrate that they vigorously and actively looked for Canadian workers, because Canadian workers come first, Mr. Speaker. If an employer is found to have violated this program, there are severe penalties. There is also a tip line, Mr. Speaker, so that if Canadians or any member of Parliament feels there's been an abuse, this can be reported to officials and it will be investigated.
The honourable member for Longueuil-Saint-Hubert. Mr. Speaker, Canada is a nation of builders. That's why earlier this month, the Prime Minister announced the first series of projects for the Historic Major Projects Office. That includes projects as diverse and ambitious as the expansion of LNG production in BC, the development of SMRs in Ontario, major mining projects in Western Canada, and the Contrecoeur Terminal Container Project near my riding of Longueuil-Saint-Hubert. Can the Minister of Finance inform this House about the benefits? The Honourable Minister of Finance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for his excellent work. Indeed, this major project will increase capacity at the Port of Montreal by about 60%, Mr. Speaker, by providing Eastern Canada with the commercial infrastructure to ensure the flow of goods. With the creation of the Major Projects Office, we're moving from vision to action. Our government is committed to delivering transformative projects that not only create thousands of good jobs, but also connect our diverse regions and stimulate new industries. Mr. Speaker, that's how we're going to make Canada the strongest economy in the G7.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to remind this Prime Minister that on the day he swore in his cabinet, he said that Canadians would judge him by the cost at the grocery store. Well, the judgment is here and the verdict is failure.
Yep.
Food inflation is now 70% above target.
Wow.
Another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal.
Shame.
Add to this rent.
You're right.
6 months later, why are Canadians still being forced to choose between rent and grocery?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I'll once again take this opportunity to let the opposition members know Build Canada Homes is up and running as a one-stop shop to build affordable housing in Canada.
Here, here.
We are going to deliver like never before. We're going to ensure that particularly Canadians who are on low incomes, and there is $1 billion dedicated to transitional supportive housing for those who are homeless or at risk of homelessness.
Wonderful.
We are delivering on the affordability across the country, Mr. Speaker.
Great work.
The Honourable Member for Cambridge.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister said when he swore in his cabinet that Canadians would judge him by the cost at the grocery store. But with elbows flying up and down, the Liberal government didn't roll up their sleeves and bring down grocery prices. While the Prime Minister does his chicken dance, 5,000 people use a food bank in Cambridge. Canadians are getting crushed. Food prices are up nearly 40%, and food inflation is 70% above target. Another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal. Is this sticker shock his promise to Canadians? Good job.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I have good news for the member.
Ooh.
That is a very real issue, and that's why we have a very real answer, Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House. The very first thing that this Prime Minister did for Canadians was to reduce taxes for 20 million Canadians. 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker, have more money in their pocket to face the cost of living, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the House, we're not about slogans. We're not about jokes. We are serious to deliver for Canadians, and we will continue to fight for Canadians at every segment of the way, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député de...
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent à Kennemac. Mr. Speaker, we're talking about Canadians' daily problems. When the Prime Minister was sworn in, he said Canadians could judge him based on prices in the grocery stores. 4 months later, groceries are way more expensive. There's inflation across the board, and people are struggling even more because of this broken promise. Canadians are starting to see that the Prime Minister breaks his promises just like all other Liberals before him. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister explain to Canadians why grocery prices are so much more expensive? The Honourable Finance Minister. Mr. Speaker, Canadians met with the Prime Minister, and they saw that they had a Prime Minister who listens and who has a vision, and above all, a man of action. With the new Liberal government, the first thing we did, Mr. Speaker, was to reduce taxes for 22 million Canadians all across the country, recognizing that we need to pull together to help those who are the most in need. But in doing that, Mr. Speaker, we also enabled those who wanted to buy a home to pay less GST, less tax, and at the same time, we have embarked on the most ambitious house building program in Canadian history.
Mr. Speaker, this summer, I heard from folks in my riding of the Bay of Quinte about the cost of living challenges they face. For members of the Canadian Armed Forces, this is no different. As our government makes a generational investment in our military, can the Minister of National Defence update this House on the support we're providing for our men and women in uniform?
The Honourable Minister of National Defence.
This guy's a bum.
We know that our forces and their families face challenges as they move across the country from posting to posting. That's why this summer we gave our forces a well-deserved and overdue pay raise. Our $2 billion compensation package is the largest in a generation. It means that untrained sailors, aviators, and soldiers will receive a 20% pay raise. As the brave women and men of the Canadian Armed Forces answer the call to serve, Mr. Speaker, they need to know we've got their backs.
The Honourable Member for Okanagan Lake West, South Kelowna.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised that he would be elbows up and buy Canadian. He broke that promise when he rewarded the Communist Chinese government a $1 billion loan to buy ferries for BC as they tariff our seafood and egg producers. That's not elbows up. It's another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal. Newly uncovered documents show senior Liberals were only concerned about their political interests. They did nothing to cancel the contract and ensure that our shipbuilders could participate. When will this Prime Minister stop rewarding Beijing, cancel this loan, and buy Canadian?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I speak for all members of this House that we are disappointed that BC Ferries made the procurement decision that they made. And, Mr. Speaker, it's really unfortunate that no Canadian companies bid on this contract with BC Ferries. That's something that we have to all rectify, and we have to change that by buying Canadian. I agree with the member opposite. On this side of the House, we are bringing forward comprehensive Buy Canadian program to make sure all of our agencies and departments are focused on buying Canadian.
The honourable member for Vancouver Kingsway.
Mr. Speaker, unemployment has surged to its highest level in a decade. Young people are being hit the hardest. 1 in 6 can't find work. Our economy is facing a recession, and millions of Canadians are worried about their jobs. Yet, Liberals are planning to slash services people rely on and eliminate family-sustaining jobs through an austerity budget this fall. Will this government reverse course and create much-needed jobs through bold initiatives like a youth climate corps, as New Democrats have proposed?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Mr. Speaker, last week it was a very proud moment for me to stand with the Prime Minister and the Canadian building trades unions who are training young people all across this country for great paying union jobs that are going to build the things that will make us the strongest economy in the G7. Mr. Speaker, this government has a fantastic plan for youth. We are investing in skills training. We are investing in the provinces and the territories so that they can do this work with us. We'll make sure no young person gets left behind.
Cela met fin à la première période des questions.
That concludes this fall session's first question period.
To the presence in the gallery of the Honourable P.J. Akiagok.
Well, I guess we're sticking a fork in that. That's done. It was kind of fun. Sorry, my computer's down. So that was a bit frustrating at the beginning because we had a lot of feed problems, but for question period itself, pretty smooth. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and not just tuning in, but watching it here. There's a million places you can watch this. I know that. Try to have fun here. I do still believe that we've got the best chat room for this side of like people that want change. It's a reasonable crowd that gathers. I don't know how it happens. Like credit the moderators team a lot, but also just it's worked out that only rational people seem to stumble across this channel because it isn't easy to find. So if you do find it, you like this, you've got to subscribe because they will not show it. It's the way it is. People talk about free speech in Canada. That ship has sailed. We've got to get free speech back. We are being censored, but they do it in ways that you can't even see. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. What was fun was watching Poilievre just smile and ask casual questions, and that beat Carney up. He ran. He took 6 rounds of Poilievre and bailed. What a loser. And he looks stupid doing it too. He's so awkward. He's like, you can't ask me those questions. Don't you know who I am? I'm the CEO of, the Prime Minister, or who am I talking? Minister. He has no concept. Like, just these fake business bureaucrats. Again, I know that I'm preaching to the choir here that 95% of the people that watch my channel know this stuff already. But it is frustrating. Like, he's here to steal money, your tax money, to put it in Brookfield's pockets. Anyhow, and Brookfield's owned by BlackRock. Like, and if you start looking, everybody talks about, I'm sorry, I'm on a rant now, but everybody's like, oh, Carney and Freelander, World Economic Forum board members, whatever. Who's the boss of the WEF, right? Like, what's going on there? Do you think it's China? Do you think it's Russia? Do you think it's China and Russia together? It's just, there's many rabbit holes to dive down. Anyhow, that was fun to watch. Pierre Poilievre, and he looked so confident and relaxed and calm and having fun. That was a pretty good one, I think. Anyhow, I'd like to thank you all so much for tuning in and watching here. We're back tomorrow. We'll be back here every day around 10 or 15 minutes before question period actually starts. And on Fridays, it starts a couple hours early. Just be aware of that. Anyways, I'll remind you about that on Thursday. And to all of the new folks that have found the channel, come back, check us out. We do have an amazing chat room. It's filled with reasonable people that are funny, that are able to, like, and it does get frustrating. I get down about this stuff, like, because it is scary, because believe it or not, they're deep into their plan. Like, and they don't mind if they get called stupid. They want you to think they're stupid. If they're not stupid, there's a couple of them that are stupid, but their plans are evil and they're well thought out, well designed. He did it to Britain. Check out how things are in Britain. It started with what Carney's doing here. And he's been passed the baton from Trudeau. Like, he was Trudeau's advisor and Trudeau was stupid. He would do anything that Carney told him. Anyhow, today was a blast. We're skipping out. Thank you all so much. Like, share, subscribe. And we're back tomorrow. I'll be putting out a couple of videos this evening about this gong show that went on. And I think I've got this here. Do I have this? Yeah, check out this video that's in the links. This was an interesting piece that I put together this morning because there were committees. And that's another thing about this channel. I do a lot of committee videos. That's where the shit really happens. You'll come to question period and you'll be like, they don't answer questions. No, they don't. In committee, it's harder to avoid the questions and it's more face to face. It's not such a big room. There's not so many people to hide behind. Anyhow, I had a blast today. I'd like to thank moderators and everybody that tuned in. Good to have you on board, Rory. You've been hanging out here long enough. Might as well throw a wrench at you. Later, gang. I'm Aaron. What are we going to go out on? I'm going to go out on the intro that I made, but it's just fun. It's about question period. We're out on this. Later, gang. Thanks a lot for watching.
Questions orales, oral questions.
Oh, hello. Do you have a warrant to be here?
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
WTF.
Here, here. Hey, everyone, quiet down. There's a bulletin on TV.
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Proud to be Canadian. I am, you know I am. You know I am. I am Canadian. Come on! I love this country where I am. This land is where I make my stand.
The one we call Canadian. Canadians.
This is my backyard.
But let me ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, will there always be a Canada?
There will always be a Canada.
All right, elbows up.
Elbows up.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. We have issues in Canada, right? Unless you're completely head in the sand, be aware of this.
Oh yeah.
And now, thank you all so much for watching. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place.